This video I'm just going to do a few things. I spent most of the day chasing around stuff up to my dad's and stuff, but I picked up the hydraulic brake lines. They're really did a, I mean the original line had like stuff over it like that. These are done in stainless steel. They're just kind of sitting on the roof of the car. So they did a really nice job. They're supposed to be identical to the original lines. We will find out when we go to put them on. That's the line that goes to the, from the front of the car to the rear of the car, the differential. So yeah, it's a big long line. And I like I say, I think they did a nice job. We'll find out when we go to put them on. It's 6 lines, so it's the 2, and then 3, 4, 5, and then one from the master cylinder to the junction block, which is actually supposed to be a flexible hose, but they make it in stainless steel, so I might put that on. We'll see. Well, I got both, so we'll do whatever we need to. So I'm going to probably paint this. It's going to be super cold tomorrow, so I doubt that. I got to fix my masking job there. So it might be Thursday or Friday before I shoot the paint on. In the meantime, I'm going to clean that drum up and paint it, get the wheel bearings greased, get this drum on. I picked up some fiberglass, little thing of fiberglass resin, so I can repair the bottom of the, very bottom of the heater air box has a little piece that was knocked loose, and I have it, so I'm going to put that back in, repair that, and clean up the heater box after this is all painted. So today I'm going to, like I say, I'm going to work on getting the brake drums on, maybe put a line or two on, we'll see. Tomorrow I'm going to do the giveaway on this too. I was just cleaning up the wheel bearings, and when you blow these off, hold them from spinning. You don't want them to go zzz when you blow them off there. You can actually wreck the bearings. So I like to do it like this. That's a nice clean bearing. It feels smooth all the way around. And I'll do the outer bearing. This is the inner bearing. I'm going to repack them, and I'll show you how I repack them when I get to it. Yuck, huh? Yeah, see, it was in the packer, kind of lopsided. But it's pretty good. I can't complain about the way it's packed. This is what you'd do if you did it the old-fashioned way. You'd get your grease and you'd push it in like so until it comes out the other end there. It's got plenty of grease in it. Just grease everything up good, put some grease in the, obviously I'm not going to be able to take the camera over there to the hub, but all this extra grease on my gloves is going to go in the hub. Alright, so I greased the bearing, and then I put a little grease in between where the, before I put the sealant on this side of the bearing, you know, kind of make sure it's kind of up in around your bearing there, but yet to where the spindle will still go through. I got grease all over my camera, so yeah, this is hard to video. It's just a sloppy, messy job. And then what I like to do, so the seal lasts, is I just smear grease in the groove of the seal, and that keeps that seal lubricated and good. So this side's in, and then I can flip it over and put the other bearing in. I want to put some grease up in here, so I'm just going to turn the camera off when I do that because it just makes a horrible mess, and then when I touch the camera it's covered in grease. I grease the spindle up, and I make sure there's a little grease on that part where the sealing surface goes. If any pushes out, you know, it just gets down in there. It doesn't get into your brakes. So I just like to put a little grease on the spindle too. Alright, I got the drum on, a little bit of brake drag, just tighten them up to a little bit. Put the washer on, the nut. This says the manual states to torque this to 17 to 25 foot-pounds, and then you can see where the cotter pinhole lines up with this. So what you do is you tighten it down until one of these lines up 17 to 25 foot-pounds, and you back it off to the next one to where you can put your cotter pin in. I got my torque wrench set for 20. We'll see what that does, and I'm going to just get it up a little bit here, and then I'll turn the drum as I do it. And that's 20 foot-pounds. And now I back it off until one of those lines up. Right there. Which is typically where that is. So that is set up to the way it's supposed to be on. Like the old cars with ball bearings, that's ultra important to have these set up right. I think the Bel Air, these are actually, the nuts are actually torqued to like 15 foot-pounds. If you don't, I don't remember what the torque spec is, maybe 7 or 10. But if you don't, you'll go through ball bearings like candy if you don't torque them properly. The roller bearings are a little more tolerable. You can generally do these after you tighten them down, just finger tight, and they're fine. But I'm doing the way the shop manual states to do it. I put the cotter pin in generally from this side, so it sits in that little nub. And then I bend these over and tap it right up against the spindle and around a little bit if I can. Just slightly, and then I'll just nip this off and call it good. And the drag I have on this drum right now, and I know you can't feel it, that's about where I like to set them with just the drum only, without the, usually it'll feel a little looser with the wheel on, but that's the way I like them. But I haven't got the hydraulic system up. Usually I like to turn it and pump the brakes a couple times to, because the brakes might just be cocked in there a little bit, and when you hit the pedal a couple of times with the drum on it, sets everything nice and straight. But that feels pretty good, and I'll do a final adjustment after all the brakes are bled out. But like I say, that feels pretty darn good. So I'm going to put the cap on and call this side done. Just kind of set it on there for now, and then I just go around and tap them on. This way you don't smash them. Doesn't take much to put these on when you do it like this. I would say that is on. There. Now doesn't that look nice? Instead of some smashed up rusty cap on there. And like I say, maybe I'll just take my greasy gloves there, and that'll be enough to keep it from rusting. This drum has a broken lug stud, so I got another one, and I'm going to put a little smidge of oil on it here. And on the threads, because I'm going to run the impact on with a couple of washers. I'm going to put a little oil on these. Hopefully those washers have big enough holes so when that collar comes through it, it doesn't get hung up. And it's in. There we go. New lug stud. Alright, now I can paint the drum and repack the wheel bearings and put this one on. Well, that's it for the day. I'm going to call it a day. I think tomorrow it's supposed to be really super cold out, so I don't think I'm going to spray this because I want to turn my furnace off and mask it off so I don't get overspray on it. So it might be Friday before I spray this. But in the meantime, you know, I got the other brake drum painted. I got the brake lines, so I can start installing the front ones anyway. I'm going to wait to do the rear ones until I get to the rear axle. And I want to get the engine and transmission and just kind of clear up a little bit of the mess in the garage before I turn to the rear of the car. I think I'll look at the control arm bushings. I'll pull up the wheels and drums and get under there and look at the bushings, and if the bushings need to be replaced, I'll just pull the whole differential out from under the car. The rear bushings usually outlast the front ones by quite a bit, but I'll look at them, and if they're okay, I'll clean the diff up under there. I'll may pull the axles and the pigs still, so I can clean all the old gear oil out of the housing. I'm sure it's the original gear oil. And then I can check the axle shaft bearings. That is not a C-clip axle. So you use a slide hammer to pull the shafts out, and they're pressed onto the shafts. So they're easy to do. You don't have to replace the shaft if the bearing is bad. And so that'll be in the future after I get the engine and transmission set back in there. And again, tomorrow I'm going to do the giveaway on this. So tune in tomorrow to my channel and hopefully some lucky soul will win this. And anyway, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see this amazing Galaxie restored, subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching.